Joining us now from Sao Paulo is Fabio Zanini. He's the political editor of Folha de Sao Paulo, the paper that published the leaked conversation. Thanks so much for joining us. Roussef and her supporters have long said that her impeachment was just part of a conspiracy, and your report seems to really lend credibility to her case.
Well, she believes, and the former government of President Roussef has said time and again that this is a coup, which is, in our opinion, makes no sense because it was a process that followed constitutional and legal procedures, first in the lower house and then in the Senate. And she was given ample space and room for defense. And the rules have followed the Constitution and were approved by the Supreme Court. So when one can discuss if there was a reason for impeaching her or not, that's a different question. But the legality of the process, the fact that it observed constitutional rules, in our opinion, there's no question about it.
Okay, so it's not necessarily about her innocence, but the problem is, can you impeach a president for corruption when there are only equally or even more corrupt politicians vying to replace her?
Well, corruption is a big problem in Brazil, as it is in many countries, including, of course, Turkey and others. So the fact that there are other politicians that are facing corruption charges in the lower house or in the Senate does not allow or should not allow the president to answer for corruption charges. I think the big issue here in Brazil is if President Dilma, who personally there are no indications that she is involved in corruption, but there's no question that many members of her government and of her party were. So the issue here is if this was enough for impeaching her. And of course, her successor, Vice President and now acting President Michel Temer, and the Speaker of the lower house, or the former Speaker of the lower house, Eduardo Cunha, they also have to answer for corruption charges. Or some of their aides, but it is my view that does not allow President Roussef to have a free hand, or her government to have a free hand.
Okay, so Fabio, what happens now when there seem to be no good guys in this scenario?
Yeah, that's an issue. That's the thing. We now have a new president or an acting president because remember that President Roussef is only provisionally out of office. Her final trial by the Senate will happen probably sometime in August or September. So until that happens, she's not a former president. She's out of office, and the vice president is now acting president. This new government of acting president Michel Temer has been in power for only 10 days, more or less, and he's facing huge difficulties in getting a government together. He's being criticized by a lot of not even opposition, the new opposition parties, but also social movements and part of the press. And he's having to face difficulties of his own.
Okay.
The latest one, of course, happened today. And actually, only a few minutes ago, the planning minister is announcing he's taking a license.
Okay. Fabio Zanini, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. We apologize for some sound quality issues we're having. But thank you so much for that. And the Folha de Sao Paulo.
Okay.